What's up, y'all? Alright, so this is long overdue. But book of the month review, right? This is supposed to happen in March or April or May or something. It's June. But so the book of the month for June, I guess, is The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. Yo. This book right here, this is some shit. This is fire. You guys, yeah. Okay. I don't even know where to start. If you think you have nothing to improve with your self-esteem, read this book. If you think that you do have something to improve with your self-esteem, read this book. If you don't know what self-esteem is, read this book. Any category you fall into, read this fucking book. So, let me just, it starts off fire. I already have, if you can see the pages that I saved in the beginning, these are only the pages that I saved to tell y'all some just bangers. But I highlighted like half the book because it's just, wow. So, actually, let's start off with this. So, how the book's breakdown goes is the basic principles of self-esteem. So, self-esteem, the immune system of consciousness, the meaning of self-esteem, the face of self-esteem, the illusion of self-esteem, basically the different facets of what self-esteem is. He breaks it down, goes into it in part 1 of the book. In part 2 of the book, you have internal sources of self-esteem. This is where he goes into the 12 pillars, what these practices are to make yourself better. And these practices are living consciously, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, self-assertiveness, living purposely, personal integrity, and yeah. And with those practices, you know how usually people like, right, oh, this is the practice of this, and they just tell you generally what it's about? It's not like that. He goes really in depth about what it means to be self-assertive, what it means to live consciously, what self-acceptance actually is, and how that works in your life. He gives real-time examples. He goes really deep into what all these things actually mean. And then on top of that, throughout the book, and then at the end of the book, he gives you practices, sentences to write, to actually practice what you're learning, to practice what's being taught, because these aren't things that it's like, oh, I read it one time and now it's ingrained in me forever. It's things you have to practice. It's your self-esteem. It's personal development. So yeah, it's forming habits. And honestly, when you read this book, it took me a long time to read this book, which is half the reason why this video is so late. But the other half is, when you read this book, sometimes it just hits you so hard with so much knowledge and so much to consider about yourself and about the people around you, that you have to just take a step back, step outside, and then see it for yourself. Because you will see it for yourself. I promise you that. So, yeah, so like, I saved some nuggets to share with you guys to like, because the way that I get into books is I have to read a little bit of it first to see like, is this something I'm going to actually enjoy, or am I going to read the first chapter and put it back on my bookshelf? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, introduction, first page, starts off, and I'm just reading you highlighted parts. The stability we cannot find in the world, we must create within our own persons. So, I take this as exactly as it said. When you have chaos all around you, and you can't figure out why, it's because you have a lack of stability. And creating that peace and stability can't start outside and work its way in. You need to find that stability and peace, or create that stability and peace inside yourself, in order for you to even view a peaceful and stable perspective on the outside to make changes to the outside. So that's the first little nugget. Second little nugget, where are you? This is in part 1, Chapter 1, Self-Esteem, the Immune System of Consciousness. Alright? A little catchy. It's cool. So this is outlining exactly what self-esteem is. Because in the book he argues, some people think self-esteem is this, some people think it's that, and then you get mixed in with you have low self-esteem, you have high self-esteem, but nobody's actually defining it. So what is self-esteem? Well, he breaks it down into two things. Number one, confidence in our ability to think, confidence in our ability to cope with the basic challenges of life, and number two, confidence in our right to be successful and happy. The feeling of being worthy, deserving, entitled to assert our needs and wants, achieve our values, and enjoy the fruits of our efforts. So a little long definition there, but it really encompasses everything. It's basically, I don't know how to say it any more basically than that. If you need to hear it again, rewind. Next little nugget. I'm just going through them because these nuggets you can take with you after this video, even if you don't read the book. But if you do decide to read the book after this video, then maybe it's because you heard something that you liked. So this one's a little bit longer. It's a quick excerpt. If I respect myself and require that others deal with me respectfully, I send out signals and behave in ways that increase the likelihood that others will respond appropriately. When they do, I am reinforced and confirmed in my initial belief. If I lack self-respect and consequently accept discourtesy, abuse, or exploitation from others as natural, I unconsciously transmit this, and some people will treat me at my self-estimate. When this happens and I submit to it, my self-respect deteriorates still more. So, in basic terms, in layman's terms, if you treat yourself how you want others to treat you, then others will treat you that way, whether better or for worse. If you treat yourself well and expect that of others and set standards for yourself and set the parameters for how you wish to be communicated with, then people will communicate with you in that way more than not. And if you treat yourself with low self-respect and you don't treat yourself like you even like yourself, then people will treat you like they don't like you because you set the standard. So next little nugget. It's only a few, so I won't be here forever just reading the whole book to you. Alright. So, if I lack self-respect for and enjoyment of who I am, I have very little to give, except my unfulfilled needs. It's going off of the last point. If you don't enjoy being you, if you don't think it's a blessing to be you, if you don't think it's a unique and experience to be you that should be cherished, then what do you have to give? You don't find any value in yourself, so how can you provide value to others? So the only thing you can provide to them is what you're experiencing on the inside, which is your unfulfilled needs. These are the people that I see. If you want to what's that word? Tangibilize? Tangibilize. Oh yeah. Alright. So if you want to tangibilize that idea, the way I see it is people that are always miserable and speak to you miserably. These are the people that don't enjoy themselves. They're miserable at home when they're by themselves. They're miserable more times than they're not miserable. And so all they have to give is misery. So the old saying, misery enjoys company. It's facts. Next topic. This one's a little deeper in the book. And this is the practice. This is in the chapter of the practice of self-assertiveness. I need this one. Assertiveness is not my strong point. Because most of the time, I'm uncomfortable with it. I'd rather be passive. But what I found is when I am more assertive, when I'm self-assertive, then I get the things I want more. And not in a greedy way, but if I don't want to be talked to in a certain way and I'm assertive about it, then I get talked to in a certain way less. Or in sales, if I'm not assertive, then I won't get the sale. Or I'll accept the sale at a third of the value that I initially came into the meeting wanting. So assertiveness is key in life, personal development, business development. It's just so, yeah. So a few excerpts out of this, alright? So while healthy self-assertiveness requires the ability to say no, it is ultimately tested not by what we are against, but what we are for. So rather, this even goes, this, I just spoke in a way like this, or unlike this, which should be changed. So instead of I don't want people to speak to me this way, you change that statement to I want to be spoken to this way. Does that make sense? So instead of, hey, I don't want you to speak to me in that tone. I don't want you to make me upset. I don't want you to speak down on me. You change that to, hey, I want you to speak to me in this tone. I want you to speak to me nicely. I want you to speak to me as if I deserve respect. And something in your brain clicks. Even your tone changes slightly. I try to keep my tone the same in these examples to keep everything level. But when you're saying it in real time, your tone changes. You can notice a difference. Your brain goes from, I'm sure you guys have heard this, but your brain doesn't register not. It doesn't register not. It registers what happens after not. So I can't even think of an example. But I gave you enough right there. So like, speak for what you want, not what you don't want, right? And eventually, and it's literally like, if I choose this, this won't happen. As simple as that. So here we go. Self-assertiveness asks that we not only oppose what we deplore, but that we live and express our values. In this respect, it is intimately tied to the issue of integrity, right? So it's about, to break that down, it's going off of the last thing, it's about being true to what you want. Like, you have to be integral to yourself about, like, this is what I hold core to me. Like, do I want people to speak to me nicely? Do I want to be happy? How will I be happy? And how do I assert the conditions that will fulfill this desire for me to be happy, for people to speak to me nicely, for this sale to go through? How do I assert this? I have to be very integral to the core about it. Okay, another quick snippet. My life does not belong to others, and I am not here on earth to live up to someone else's expectations. Story of my fucking life. Like, this is the type of shit that I preach all the time. Your life is your own. It's not meant to be lived. And I preach that because I've spent so much time living for other people. It's not, it seems like the normal thing to do while you're doing it, right? It seems like, oh, this is just life, da-da-da. But it's exhausting. At the end of the day, it's exhausting because you never get a chance to be you if you spend all your time living for someone else. One of my close friends likes to call it living a double identity. Don't live a double identity. Live your life. Live to your expectations. Live to your standards. Do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, grow your hair the way you want to grow your hair. That was a point for me last month, is because people kept coming at me about my hair, about my beard or whatever, and that was a point for me, so it's funny. But like, live up to your own expectations. If you expect yourself to be a moral character, live up to those expectations. Don't make yourself an immoral character because you want to impress the people that you're around. You want to live up to the expectations of immoral characters that you like to hang around. If you want to be for the earth, that's my thing. If I don't like litter, right? My friend here, you can't see him in the camera, but he likes to litter. But like, just because he likes to litter doesn't mean that I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna litter because I'm around him. It shouldn't change your values and your actions because you're not on the same wave as somebody else at the same time. You get me? Like, live up to your own expectations at all times. It's gonna make your life so much easier. Every time I don't do it, it makes my life harder. Every time, guaranteed. Cause then, and he also talks about this in this book, is if you create a dissonance within yourself, if you say I'm this way but then act like that, it makes you trust yourself less. And if you're watching this and you've ever had trust issues with another person, imagine having trust issues with yourself. It's way worse. And it's not fun. It's not good at all. It makes you doubt yourself at every corner. And I've been there, so I can speak on it. And I haven't seen a person that hasn't been there. Because a lot of people like to tell themselves they're a certain way, but they act in a completely opposite way. And the more you do that, is the more that integrity that we were just talking about depleted. Alright, let's find the next excerpt. Trying to make this quick. Alright. So here we are. Okay. And this is out of the nurturing a child's self-esteem section of this book, because Nathaniel Branden likes to really apply this to different areas of life. So if you're reading this and you have kids, or you plan on having kids in a family, then you want to know, how do I apply this? How do I incorporate these ideals, incorporate these practices into my kids so that they can be better off when they're growing up? But at the same time, it allows you to reflect on your past and see, did I have this as a child? Were these values integrated? What am I missing? And you can still take a lot of the stuff that he's talking about in like nurturing a child's self-esteem and apply it to your life right now as an adult. If you're an adult watching this, it doesn't matter. It's universal principles that you just apply. So this idea, right? I am enough. People speak on that a lot. When you talk about self-love as a social media trend, wherever that goes, for better or worse, people like to speak on you are enough. When you have a friend that's in a rut, or that's suicidal, or doesn't believe they can advance in their goals, career-wise or personal or family-wise, it's always good to let them know that they're enough. But what the fuck does being enough mean? Enough for what? So he tells us, I am enough does not mean I have nothing to learn and nowhere to grow to. It means I accept myself as a value as I am. I accept myself. So accepting something and liking something are two different ideas. You can accept something and not like it, but work to change it. But once you've accepted it, you've recognized the problem. You've recognized whatever, even if it's not a problem, you've recognized what it is. You've accepted it. I wear glasses. I can't see. Or actually, I can't see. I've accepted that. So what's the solution? Glasses, so I can see. Simple as that. It's very, very simple. It's just practicing it. So when you apply it to yourself, self-love, self-esteem, self-nurturing, these things, when you say I am enough, that means I accept myself. Is there room for change? Always. Every second of the day. You can't escape change. That's the course of our life. That's human nature, is change. So it doesn't mean I have nothing to learn and nowhere to grow. It doesn't mean you don't have any change to be made. But it means I accept myself and I value what that is. I value that acceptance. I value who I am in and out. Like, this is who I am and I love it. You know what I'm saying? Do I want to make changes? Absolutely. But do I accept myself? Yes. And having this idea can make you so much happier on a day-to-day. Like, I say this because, like, I used to be in some dark places, you feel me? And everybody goes into dark places. So like, when you're in those dark places, sometimes you feel like, damn, I'm really worthless. But then the fact is, you're not. So once you realize you're not, and once you assign value to yourself, and once you accept yourself, boy, that confidence, the confidence to be yourself, will make you happy when everything else is going wrong. Like, when the whole day is shit, when you remember, oh, but I'm still me though. Like, it sounds like there's no correlation, but try it out. Like, when your whole day is shit, just like take a look in the mirror and smile at yourself, because you're like, oh shit, like that's me. And like, I get to be here, I get to go through this, I get to experience. I learned something from this day going bad. I know how to make changes in the future. Or maybe I learned that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in this, and that I need to learn what to do. I need to learn to learn. You know what I'm saying? So there's always a benefit to self-acceptance. And those are all my nuggets from this book. I don't want to go and read the whole book for you, but like, I recommend this book to literally all of my friends. None of them have gotten it yet, but that's because they're busy reading other helpful books, because choose your friend group wisely, right? And speaking of other helpful books, it won't be next month's book of the month, because I'm reading another book right now called 1 in 100,000, I think it's called, by some dude named Luigi. You'll see it next month. But after that, I ordered the book that all of my friends are reading right now. It's called something about psycho-cybernetics, yeah. And it's supposed to be like amazing, crazy shit. But good crazy. So yeah, I really can't wait till that one. That's gonna be fire. I really don't know what the 1 in 100,000 one is about yet. I'm only on the chapters are like a few pages. I'm only on like the 6th chapter. So I'll let you know. But other than that, this book, I got it. Originally, it's $17. I'm saying, look, go on Amazon, go to the used section of right below, and you can get books for like almost half off, if not more. So, yeah, that's my spiel on the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. Fire book, must read for everybody. If you want to improve the person that you are, read it. If you want to understand the person that you are, read it. If you don't have anything else to do and you're just finding something to fill your time, read it. Please just read this book. I promise you, you will not regret it. So, I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in to this month's Book of the Month.